always acknowledging that he who dwells and whispers in our hearts is the source of our arts. This is Joey Vargas for Hearts, Meaningful Conversations. We are in the middle of a pandemic. It feels like thick, dark clouds gathered so that light is not able to reach us. It feels as if darkness succeeded in covering us under its cloak. It hovers above us. It surrounds us. It is in our breath, filling our minds, our hearts. No one has been spared from this calamity. We had to adjust every single part of our lives. We had to postpone our dreams. We had to change our directions. We had to cut our connections. We had to embrace a new way of life. The pandemic took from us many circumstances that had been usually under our control. It almost feels like it took the earth from which we stand so that we end up standing on nothing, on precarity, on doubts, fears, uncertainties. But also, there emerged a collective goal to see the end of all these, to be there when finally light comes and darkness dissipates, to survive. It is rather, though painful and difficult, interesting to see how the times challenged our concepts of charity and nobility. How many times recently have we come to judge someone when someone gets sick, as if he or she must feel remorse for having the virus? How many times have we thought of those who got sick not as victims, but as though they are guilty of a crime by merely showing symptoms of the virus? How many times have we realized that at the end of the day, we only truly value our own personal survival and welfare? How many times have we really owned the reality that we too might also be carriers of the virus, so that we truly suffer doing sacrifices so as not to put others at risk? How many times have we worked to hide our own symptoms so that we may not be the recipients of judgment and discrimination? After years of intellectual and technological advancement, here we are, posited to question and to truly value our sense of humanity. Here we are, seemingly stripped of many things that we deemed important and confronted by what is truly essential: survival, which also comes with an inevitable realization: we are not meant to survive. The pandemic forced us to come face to face with the reality of death. It forced us to look at death and be transfixed by it. It made us think that death is everywhere. One cannot hide from it. And in this realization, we have seen the value of life. We have seen its fragility. We have realized how swift and fleeting it is. So we had to weigh in all those that we thought were important for us. We re-evaluated our dreams, our vision. We became more conscious and deliberate with our steps. We began to recognize a different sense of courage. And yet we are certain this courage, though it may seem different, is also one that is ancient and innate in us. We had it all the time. We then find the value of sharing our lives to others, of breeding love and courage so that humanity may survive, so that the future generation may not come to see similar days such as these we live now. We survive so that we may teach what we come to learn during these moments of darkness. Our knowledge, our understanding, our wisdom gained in times of troubles and tribulations must be the light that shall guide the next generation towards a much better, perhaps more conscientious, civilized world. Allow me now to share with you this poem written in 1978 by Audre Lorde, A Litany for Survival. For those of us who live at the shoreline, standing upon the constant edges of decision, crucial and alone, for those of us who cannot indulge the passing dreams of choice, who love in doorways coming and going, in the hours between dawns, looking inward and outward, at once before and after, seeking a now that can breed futures, like bread in our children's mouths, so their dreams will not reflect the death of ours. For those of us who were imprinted with fear, like a faint line in the center of our foreheads, learning to be afraid with our mother's milk, for by this weapon, this illusion of some safety to be found, the heavy-footed hoped to silence us, for all of us, this instant and this triumph. We were never meant to survive. And when the sun rises, we are afraid it might not remain. When the sun sets, we are afraid it might not rise in the morning. When our stomachs are full, we are afraid of indigestion. When our stomachs are empty, we are afraid we may never eat again. When we are loved, we are afraid love will vanish. When we are alone, we are afraid love will never return. And when we speak, we are afraid our words will not be heard nor welcomed. But when we are silent, we are still afraid. So it is better to speak remembering we were never meant to survive. I do hope you join me in this journey of a kind of introspection or an internal interior conversation. I am drawn to talk about, or maybe even question or share anything about faith, about the arts. I am hoping that we may have meaningful conversations with thinkers from all over the world, poets in particular, spanning generations. I also do hope that sometimes I may come to have conversations with some friends whose life and work we may also learn many things from, as I also do hope I may have conversations with you. We have so many things in our hearts that when shared, will also fill someone else's heart. And out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Have a very meaningful day, my dearest good friends.